Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are doing something very different because we have a guest, and as you guys can tell, I'm not driving because, well, we got... Hello. And your name is?
I'm Andre.
Alright, so Andre is driving my car today, and the reason for that is because, well, he owns a Model 3, and we'll get into that later on. He owns a Model 3, and, well, I own a Model S. I am curious about the Model 3, he's curious about the Model S. Funny how that works, right? And one of the great things about, you know, the community, and I made a video on this before, one of the great things about the Tesla community is, well, we are a different breed in a sense that we talk a lot, right?
You betcha. We met at the charger. We just struck up a discussion on S versus 3, and we decided, hey, what happens if we try to compare each other's cars? Since I have no S experience.
Exactly. So now, basically, what we're doing is we're going to take a little mini road trip. He gets to test out this car and figure out how it works and tell me, in his mind, what is the differences in, you know, from going from the Model 3 to going to the Model S. And obviously there is a massive difference for, especially if you're going from the Model 3, because, well, the Model S has a few busy things going on, but I'm gonna let him tell you that.
Right off the top, sitting at the Model S, there's a lot going on the dashboard. With the Model 3, we only have the 15-inch dash sitting off on the side. Here I've got a display in front of me. I've got the 17-inch center display. Looking around the cabin, my steering, looking around the cabin, I'm finding it is a little more closed in than the 3 because there is more stuff around you. Out at the back window, it's a relatively small window if you're used to other cars. On the 3, it's about the same size because the tinting on the overhead window comes down to about the same level.
See, one of the crazy things about that I find anyway is that the Model 3 has it feels more open, at least when I sat in it, and with it being, you know, more open, it actually feels bigger, honestly. I mean, every time I sat in a Model 3, and by the way, that has not been a lot. It's been mostly in the showrooms, and as you guys know, I did do a quick little review on the Model 3 when I took out a Model 3 Performance. However, we are going to do this drive again tomorrow, which is kind of neat because I'll be driving his Model 3. I'll be able to give you guys a lot more information on what I think about it. But today, it's all about, well, Andre telling us what he thinks about this one. So we're just driving up to Cyprus. I've done this trip a few times before, but the reason I'm choosing this is because it's just a really fun little road to go on. Once we get up to the top, I'll do more of an interview style with Andre here, so you guys can get a real sense of what he thinks. All right, so let's see. What do you think are some of the biggest differences you noticed just coming up this far?
Biggest one that I found very interesting is autopilot on the S. It was handling the curves far better than I've experienced on the 3. We'll be testing a little more later on my 3 how it goes, but it was able to slow down for almost all the curves. There was one that we were deciding, it's not slowing down yet, let's take over, control that turn.
Let's see how she does today on it. I get the feeling we're gonna have to take over. Yep.
It's coming in way too quick.
It was coming in. And again, I think it works off of that lane better than it works off of this lane. And I think it has something to do with the fact that it doesn't have the right-hand side lines to use as a guide.
Mm-hmm. It's a more stable ride. I mentioned that the actual interior feel of the 3 is a little more smaller, just because there's less dashboard, less other things inside the cabin of the 3. True, the S is a bigger car, and it feels like a bigger car when driving it. It's a more stable ride. I found the 3 will feel all the bumps a little more than this S will.
That has to do something with the air suspension, more than likely.
Quite possibly, since 3 doesn't have, or at least mine doesn't. Not available as far as I know.
No, it's not available.
So mine, you feel a little more. We adjust the steering wheel feel. The mid control I found in the 3 a stiffer wheel than on the S. When we bumped up to Sport, it started getting about the same feel. Should be interesting to see what you feel the Sport on the 3 feels like.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. So as far as so you bought the Model 3, and do you think the Model 3 is just a better overall, I guess, city vehicle.
It is certainly a more affordable vehicle.
More affordable, yes.
That was one of the considerations for the wife and I. We've been looking at Teslas for many years. We've been wanting the S for a long time because it's a Tesla. It's fun. It's cool. We're having a hard time taking out that full price tag. So when the 3 came out, oh, we're going to start with this more affordable mid-size. We're going, okay, we're doing it. So it comes in at not quite as heavy of a price as the 3, but it's still a Tesla. It still has that get up and go, which I've had to use to get myself out of a situation that I don't trust what the other driver is doing. So I'm leaving this area because I have the acceleration to do it with.
Right.
I'm coming up from
the get out of Dodge effect.
Right. I'm coming up from a smart car, which has no acceleration.
Awesome. So, yeah, I mean, coming from a smart car, I agree. It is crazy to me that, you know, these cars, it doesn't really matter ultimately. In my opinion, it doesn't matter. If it's a Model 3, Model S, Model X, Tesla seems to do this thing where there's a continuity with regards to their vehicles. There really is. And, you know, one thing that you look at is even Andre, like he goes from a Model 3, sits into a Model X, drives up the mountains here, drives over the highway, drives through a city flawlessly. Now, obviously, this can be due to skill, just having driving skill, but it can also be associated a little bit more, sometimes, more with how the cars are built. So there's a familiarity when you get in a car. In all fairness, obviously, you know, going in there and having a much busier cluster compared to the Model 3 that he's used to, but it's not throwing anything away. Now, this car, however, does have more levers, and actually I'm going to ask you about that. So, as I was mentioning, the car does have more levers. So obviously on the left-hand side, you have the signal, you have the steering wheel control, you have the autopilot control. So the levers there's more compared to what you have.
4 in the 3, where I've got 2, one on the left, one on the right.
Okay.
So the one on the left is your standard turn signals, has the wiper control.
Okay.
It doesn't have the dialing wiper control, that's controlled by the center screen.
Oh, okay.
You still have the button at the end for single pass, or hold it for wash.
Okay.
The right-hand stalk gets you your gear shift, reverse, neutral, drive, park. It's also the one that controls whether or not you're going into autopilot or not. On the S, you pulled your lever twice towards you to activate autopilot. On the 3, it's the right-hand stalk down twice.
Yep.
Once for traffic aware cruise control, up to turn off your traffic aware cruise control and auto steer. Thumb wheels on the wheel. Left one is still your media controls, your mute, volume up, volume down, track forward, track back.
This is good because I'm learning for tomorrow.
Because after all, on the 3, the wheels are 4-way plus buttons.
Yes.
Right one, speed up, speed down, click to do voice control.
Okay.
That's right. Left and right is your follow distance.
Perfect.
So you can modify all those without having to go off onto the touch screen, which seems to be the common complaint a lot of people have on the 3 as well. Everything is on the touch screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna review that one tomorrow. I'm actually gonna look into it a little bit more because I've heard a tons of, you know, ands, ifs, or buts. I hope this video was educational.
Educational, informative, gives that counterpoint of I'm a 3 driver. What was it like driving an S?
So, how would you sum it up? What would you say to anybody who's thinking about, you know, Model 3 versus Model S? Aside from the price, okay, let's not talk about the price. The price is a big one, obviously. But if you come down to the point where you can afford either or, if you can afford either or, would you still go with the 3 or would you stick with the S?
Becomes an interesting question because there is that toss-up of, do I want the simplicity of the 3 or do I want the greater cargo capacity of the S? I think the S, in terms of presentation, will certainly win over the 3. The 3 has that elegant simplicity to it.
Right.
The S does speak a little more to, this is a more luxurious car.
Okay.
Interior components and that sort of thing. I would certainly consider the S. I think the S even has a longer range if you've come to like the 100D.
Yes. So, and I think this is one of the because I get this question on my channel. I get some of you guys that send me emails, and you know, I'm thinking of buying this, that, or the other thing. Here's the bottom line. You buy the vehicle, 1, that suits your budget. That's a no-brainer. 2, you buy a vehicle that makes sense for you. So what are you going to use it for? Now, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, being a Model S driver, I can say that I do envy some of the people with the Model 3s, mainly because of the fact that it is a smaller car, easier to park. I think for city driving especially, it really does have an advantage over the S, even over the X, I think.
Yeah, it's about this size.
Yeah, so right. So I think that there's a, you know, if you don't need 30 cubic feet of storage, then, well, you don't need this car in that sense either, right? Because yours has, I believe, 15, and this has, so exactly double, right? But if you don't need that, then, and by the way, if you're gonna need 30 cubic feet, or you need more than 15, I should say, if you need more than 15, odds are you're spending too much money anyway. So, you know, stop spending so much money. But 15 cubic feet is actually a lot more than people imagine. And ultimately, I think the numbers are just numbers. And it's one of the things that, you know, coming out here and doing this little thing that we're doing, you know, the numbers online and what people talk about, you know, this much kilowatts, this much weight, and so forth and so on, they're kind of irrelevant in the big picture, I think, because ultimately it comes down to the very, very basics, which is what do you use the car for? If you can afford this car, by all means, go for it. But if it doesn't make sense for you, even if you can afford it, don't go for it. Now, like I said, tomorrow we're going to be doing a test on the Model 3, his Model 3. He's got a gorgeous blue Model 3, which is, I love that color, first of all. It's, I don't know what it is about that color. It stands out. It's a really, really beautiful color I think on the Model 3, it really makes it look that much better. But we'll be doing that tomorrow. We'll probably have like a week separating the two videos. Once that one goes live too, I'm gonna put the links to each video in the description of their respective videos. And with all that said, I'm gonna say a massive, massive thank you to Andre for participating in this.
Thank you for letting me drive your car.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed it. We came out a little bit early. You know, we're 8 o'clock in the morning, which is great because we got less traffic and less stuff to deal with, so we get to really enjoy the drive a little bit more. Now we're gonna head back, but considering the roads we chose,
it's a nice relaxing drive, particularly when the car drives itself.
Yes, you know, autopilot is crazy. I love autopilot. I can't get over how wonderful that is. But once again, thank you for doing this. And then I know tomorrow we're gonna get together again. We're gonna do the Model 3. I have to admit, I'm a little bit curious about how that's gonna handle. With all that said, look forward to the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.